What if, at this very moment, someone is crying to Allah for a person they have never met? Someone they cannot see, someone they cannot find, someone they do not know exists. Yet they keep asking Allah for them again and again, every night, every prayer, every moment their heart feels lonely. And what if that person is you? What if while you are sitting here wondering why Allah keeps making you wait, someone else is wondering the exact same thing? What if while you are asking Allah, when will my dua be answered, someone else is asking, Ya Allah, where is the person I have been praying for? Think about how incredible that is. Two hearts, two separate lives, two different journeys, yet both raising their hands to the same Allah, both hoping, both waiting, both trusting, and neither one realizing that Allah may already be writing them into the same story. The truth is, Allah does not begin love when two people meet. Allah begins it long before that. He begins it in the unseen. He begins it through prayers, through patience, through heartbreak, through healing, through lessons that make no sense at the time. While you think nothing is happening, Allah may be changing hearts. While you think your story is standing still, Allah may be moving pieces you cannot see. While you think your due is delayed, Allah may already be preparing the answer. Because sometimes the greatest blessings are not found. They are prepared, and tonight, you may discover that someone is begging Allah for an answer about you, while Allah is quietly preparing both of your hearts for the moment He has already written. Long before the meeting, Allah begins connecting two hearts in the unseen. Most people believe that a relationship begins when two people finally meet, when they have their first conversation, when they exchange names, when they see each other's faces, when they finally enter each other's lives. But Allah's plans often begin long before any of those things happen. What we see is only the final chapter. Allah sees the entire story from beginning to end. He sees what happened years before the meeting. He sees what is happening today, and He sees what will happen tomorrow. There are moments in life when your heart feels restless, and you do not understand why. You keep making the same dua. You keep asking Allah for guidance. You keep wondering why certain hopes refuse to leave your heart. You try to move on. You try to stop thinking about the future. Yet something deep inside you continues waiting, continues hoping, continues believing. Sometimes it feels like your heart is expecting something that has not arrived yet, and you cannot explain why. What if that feeling is not meaningless? What if Allah is preparing a chapter that your eyes cannot see yet? The truth is that Allah often begins connecting hearts in the unseen long before people ever cross paths in this world. Somewhere, there may be a believer sitting alone after Salah, raising their hands, speaking to Allah with tears in their eyes, asking for a righteous spouse, asking for someone who will stay loyal when life becomes difficult, someone who will choose honesty over games, someone who will bring peace instead of confusion, someone who will make Jannah feel closer. They do not know your name. They do not know your face. They do not know your story. They have never heard your voice. Yet they continue asking Allah for someone exactly like the person He may already be, shaping you to become. And while they are making that dua, Allah already knows everything about you. He knows every struggle you have faced. He knows every disappointment you never told anyone about. He knows every silent tear that fell from your eyes when nobody was around. He knows the nights you stayed awake, wondering why your life was not moving forward. He knows the moments you felt forgotten. He knows the prayers you whispered when your heart was breaking. He knows the battles you fought alone. The battles nobody noticed. The battles nobody praised you for surviving. Allah saw all of them. Not a single tear was wasted. Not a single prayer was ignored. Not a single moment of patience was forgotten. Sometimes we think Allah's plan starts when circumstances change around us. When we meet someone, when an opportunity appears, when a door finally opens. But many times Allah starts His plan by changing what is happening inside us. Before Allah joins two people together, He often spends years preparing their hearts, because the right blessing given to the wrong version of ourselves can become a test instead of a gift. That is why Allah teaches patience before the blessing arrives. He teaches trust before the answer comes. He teaches gratitude before abundance appears. He teaches emotional strength before responsibility enters our lives. Many people ask Allah for a beautiful future, but they do not realize Allah is first creating the person who can handle that future. Perhaps the reason for your waiting is not because Allah is withholding something from you. Perhaps He is building something inside you, something stronger, something wiser, something more beautiful than what existed before. And at the same time, Allah may be doing the very same thing in someone else's life. While you are learning patience, they may be learning patience too. While you are healing from old wounds, they may be healing from theirs. While you are becoming closer to Allah, they may also be returning to Allah. Neither of you knows what Allah is doing. Neither of you knows the full story, yet Allah knows every detail. This is one of the most beautiful parts of trusting Allah. You do not have to understand everything. You only have to trust the one who understands everything. Think about how many things had to happen for you to become the person you are today. The lessons, the failures, the delays, the heartbreaks, the victories, the people who entered your life, the people who left. At the time, many of those moments probably made no sense. But later you realize they were shaping you, preparing you, guiding you. The same may be happening right now. The chapter you are living today may be preparing you for a chapter that has not arrived yet. A chapter so beautiful that one day you will look back and finally understand why Allah made you wait. Why certain doors stayed closed. Why certain people left. Why certain prayers seemed delayed. Because Allah was writing a story bigger than anything you could see. The beautiful thing is that both people often feel alone during this process. Both people think they are simply waiting. Both people wonder when Allah will answer. Both people sometimes question whether their dua is being heard. Yet neither realizes that Allah may already be writing their names into the same story. This is why you should never lose hope when life feels uncertain. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Seeds grow beneath the soil long before anyone sees a flower. The sun begins rising before its light reaches every corner of the sky. And Allah begins preparing blessings long before they arrive in your hands. The unseen world is full of things Allah is arranging that your eyes cannot yet see. Conversations that have not happened, doors that have not opened, paths that have not crossed, and hearts that are slowly being guided toward the future Allah has chosen for them. Sometimes the greatest proof of Allah's mercy is not what He gives you immediately. It is what He prepares for you patiently, long before the meeting, long before the conversation, long before the day you finally understand why everything happened the way it did. Allah may already be connecting two hearts in the unseen, and while you are waiting for the answer, He may already be writing it. Allah will not send the blessing until the heart is ready to protect it. One of the hardest things for people to accept is that wanting something does not always mean being ready for it. We often look at our lives and think, why is Allah making me wait? Why has my dua not been answered yet? Why does it seem like everyone else is moving forward while I remain in the same place? And because we cannot see what Allah sees, we sometimes mistake preparation for delay. But Allah does not simply look at what you want. He looks at what your heart is ready to carry. There is a reason Allah is called the Most Wise. His decisions are not based on emotions. They are not based on impatience. They are not based on what feels good in the moment. They are based on perfect wisdom. Allah knows that some blessings can arrive too early. And when a blessing arrives before the heart is ready, it can become a source of pain instead of peace. Think about it. How many people prayed for something they later lost because they were not ready to protect it? How many people asked Allah for love but were still carrying unhealed wounds from the past? How many people wanted marriage but had not yet learned patience, trust, forgiveness, or emotional maturity? Sometimes we focus so much on receiving the blessing that we forget to become the person who can preserve it. This is why Allah often works on the heart before He changes the circumstances. Before He opens the door, He prepares the person who will walk through it. Before He sends the blessing, He strengthens the hands that will hold it. Before He answers the prayer, He shapes the heart that will receive the answer. The truth is that Allah loves you too much to give you something beautiful before you are ready for it. A loving parent does not hand a child something valuable when they know the child is not ready to care for it. Not because they want to punish the child, but because they want to protect both the child and the gift. Allah's wisdom is infinitely greater. Sometimes the delay itself is mercy. Sometimes what feels like waiting is actually protection. Protection from rushing into something that would have broken your heart. Protection from meeting the right person at the wrong time. Protection from making decisions while your emotions are still wounded. Protection from carrying responsibilities you are not yet prepared for. Many people only see closed doors. Allah sees the dangers behind those doors. Many people only see delays. Allah sees disasters they never had to experience because He protected them. One day, you may look back and realize that what upset you the most was actually saving you. that unanswered prayer, that delayed opportunity, that relationship that never happened, that person who walked away. At the time it felt painful. At the time it felt confusing. At the time you thought Allah was withholding something from you. But later you realized He was protecting you from something you could not see. The amazing thing about Allah's plan is that He prepares both sides. If someone is making dua for you right now, Allah may be working on their heart just as He is working on yours. While you are learning patience, they may be learning patience too. While you are learning trust, they may be learning trust too. While you are becoming stronger through hardship, they may be becoming stronger through hardship as well. Neither of you knows what Allah is doing. Neither of you can see the full picture. Yet Allah is guiding both journeys at the same time. This is why you should never compare your timeline to someone else's. Someone else's blessing is not your blessing. Someone else's timing is not your timing. Allah writes every story differently because every heart needs something different. Some people need lessons in patience. Others need lessons in gratitude. Others need lessons in trust. And Allah gives every lesson at exactly the right moment. The beautiful reality is that Allah never wastes a waiting season. Every day of waiting is accomplishing something. Every test is teaching something. Every hardship is building something. Every disappointment is removing something that does not belong in your future. Even when you feel stuck, Allah is still working. Even when nothing seems to be changing, Allah is still preparing. Even when you feel forgotten, Allah is still writing your story. Perhaps right now Allah is removing fears from your heart. Perhaps He is teaching you to depend on Him instead of people. Perhaps He is healing wounds that would have damaged a future relationship. Perhaps He is building a stronger version of you, a calmer version, a wiser version, a more faithful version, the version of you that can finally handle the blessing you keep asking for. Because Allah does not only want to give you the blessing, He wants you to be able to keep it. He wants you to appreciate it. He wants it to bring you closer to Him instead of further away. And that is why His timing is always better than our timing. What feels slow to us is perfect to Him. What feels delayed to us is perfectly scheduled by Him. And what feels like silence may actually be Allah preparing something so beautiful that it requires more time than you can currently understand. So if you are waiting today, do not only ask yourself when the blessing will arrive, ask yourself what Allah may be teaching you while you wait. Because sometimes the greatest miracle is not the blessing itself. Sometimes the greatest miracle is the person Allah transforms you into before the blessing arrives. Someone is asking Allah for qualities that may already exist in you. One of the most beautiful thoughts a believer can have is this: what if someone is already asking Allah for a person exactly like you? Not because they know who you are, not because they have seen your face, not because they have heard your name, but because the qualities they keep asking Allah for are the very qualities Allah has been growing inside you for years. Think about that for a moment. Somewhere in the world, a person may be raising their hands after Salah and saying, Ya Allah, send me someone sincere. Ya Allah, send me someone loyal. Ya Allah, send me someone with a kind heart. Ya Allah, send me someone who will stay close to you. They are not describing a face. They are not describing a social status. They are not describing wealth. They are not describing popularity. They are describing character. And character is something Allah spends years building. The world often teaches people to focus on appearances, how someone looks, how much money they have, what kind of life they live, how impressive they seem to others. But Allah looks deeper. Allah looks at the heart. Allah looks at sincerity. Allah looks at patience. Allah looks at faith. Allah looks at the qualities that remain when nobody is watching. That is why some of the most valuable things about you may be things nobody else can see. Your patience when life became difficult. Your trust in Allah when things did not make sense. Your ability to remain kind after being hurt. Your decision to keep moving forward after disappointment. Your effort to stay faithful when giving up would have been easier. These are not small things. These are treasures in the sight of Allah. The beautiful part is that many of these qualities are built through pain. Nobody asks for heartbreak. Nobody asks for loneliness. Nobody asks for disappointment. Yet Allah often uses these difficult moments to create something beautiful inside a believer. Perhaps you became more compassionate because you experienced pain. Perhaps you became more understanding because you know what it feels like to struggle. Perhaps you became more patient because life forced you to wait. Perhaps you became more dependent on Allah because people let you down. The very experiences that made you cry may have also been shaping you into the person someone is praying for. This is why you should never think your struggles are meaningless. Every hardship is teaching something. Every test is building something. Every delay is creating something, even when you cannot see it. Many people spend years asking Allah for the right person, but they rarely think about the fact that Allah may be using those same years to make them the right person for someone else. While you are praying for your future, Allah may be preparing you to become part of someone else's answer, and that preparation is happening every single day. Through your victories, through your failures, through your lessons, through your growth, through every moment that brings you closer to Allah. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that their value comes from what other people think about them. If someone rejects them, they feel worthless. If someone leaves, they question their value. If they remain single for a long time, they begin wondering whether something is wrong with them. But your value has never been determined by another human being. Your value comes from the one who created you, the one who knows every good quality hidden inside your heart, the one who sees the efforts nobody else notices, the one who sees your silent acts of worship, the one who sees the tears you hide from the world. Allah knows your worth, even when people fail to see it. And sometimes the reason Allah removes certain people from your life is because they were unable to recognize the blessing standing in front of them. Not everyone will appreciate your heart. Not everyone will understand your value. Not everyone will recognize the qualities Allah placed inside you. But the person Allah has written for you will appreciate things that others ignored. They will appreciate your sincerity, your faith, your kindness, your loyalty, your effort to become a better believer, because those are the very things they have been asking Allah for. This is why you should never become discouraged when life does not unfold the way you expected. Allah is not only preparing blessings for you, sometimes He is preparing you to be a blessing for someone else. And there is a beautiful difference between those two things. Anyone can receive a blessing, but becoming a blessing is something special. It means Allah trusted you with qualities that can bring peace to another person's life. It means Allah used your struggles to create wisdom. It means Allah used your pain to create compassion. It means Allah used your waiting to create patience. It means Allah used your journey to shape a heart that reflects something beautiful. And perhaps somewhere right now, without knowing your name, without knowing your face, without knowing your story, someone is asking Allah for those exact qualities. They are asking for sincerity. Allah may be pointing toward you. They are asking for loyalty. Allah may be preparing you. They are asking for kindness. Allah may already be growing that kindness inside your heart. They are asking for someone who will help them become closer to Allah. And perhaps that is exactly why Allah has spent years working on your heart first. Because the person making dua is not only waiting for an answer, they are waiting for a person. And Allah may already be shaping that person through every lesson, every hardship, every prayer, and every moment of growth you have experienced. So never underestimate what Allah is doing in your life right now. The tears, the waiting, the healing, the lessons. None of it is wasted. Because one day you may discover that everything you went through was preparing you to become the answer to a dua that someone never stopped making. The waiting season is where Allah prepares. The love you prayed for one of the most difficult tests for the human heart is waiting. Not because waiting is painful by itself, but because waiting creates questions. Questions that seem to have no answers. You make dua. Days pass, weeks pass, months pass, sometimes even years pass, and you begin wondering if Allah has heard you. You begin wondering if your prayer will ever be answered. You begin wondering if what you hope for is ever going to happen. This is where many people become discouraged. This is where many people lose hope, because they mistake waiting for rejection. But there is a powerful truth that every believer must remember. Allah's silence is not His absence, and Allah's delay is not His denial. Just because the answer has not arrived does not mean Allah is not working. In fact, some of Allah's greatest work happens during the seasons when nothing appears to be happening. Think about a seed placed beneath the soil. The person looking at the ground sees nothing. No flower, no tree, no fruit. Nothing appears to be changing. Yet beneath the surface, everything is changing. Roots are growing. Life is developing. Preparation is taking place. The growth is invisible before it becomes visible. And many times, Allah's plans work exactly the same way. While you are looking for visible signs, Allah is creating invisible preparation. While you are focused on what has not happened, Allah is working on things you cannot yet see. This is why the waiting season is so important, because waiting is not empty. Waiting is productive. Waiting is preparation. Waiting is part of the answer. Many people want the blessing, but they do not appreciate the process that creates the blessing. They want the beautiful ending, but they do not understand the preparation that makes the ending possible. Imagine meeting the right person while you are still carrying emotional wounds from the wrong people. Imagine entering a beautiful relationship while still trapped by fear, insecurity, and pain. Imagine receiving the answer to your dua before your heart was strong enough to appreciate it. Sometimes Allah delays the blessing because He wants you to receive it with a healthy heart. Not a broken heart, not a desperate heart, not a heart dependent on people, but a heart connected to Him. A heart that understands that every blessing comes from Allah first. The truth is that many people spend their waiting season looking at what they do not have. But Allah wants them to look at what He is building, because while you are waiting, Allah may be teaching you lessons that will protect your future. He may be teaching you patience, the kind of patience that keeps a relationship strong when life becomes difficult. He may be teaching you trust, the kind of trust that allows you to remain calm, even when things do not go according to your plans. He may be teaching you gratitude, the kind of gratitude that prevents you from taking blessings for granted once they arrive. He may be teaching you emotional maturity, the kind of maturity that helps you solve problems with wisdom instead of reacting with emotions. These lessons may not feel exciting. They may not feel important today. But one day, you may realize that these lessons became the foundation of everything beautiful Allah placed in your life. The waiting season is often where Allah removes things that would have harmed your future. Sometimes He removes unhealthy attachments. Sometimes He removes unrealistic expectations. Sometimes He removes people who would have distracted you from His plan. And sometimes He removes habits that would have damaged the blessing you keep asking for. At the time, these removals feel painful. You do not understand why people leave. You do not understand why doors close. You do not understand why certain plans fail, but Allah understands. He sees what is ahead. He sees what you cannot see. And because He loves you, He protects you from things you do not even realize are dangerous. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that life begins when they finally receive what they want. They tell themselves, "I will be happy when this prayer is answered. I will finally feel complete when this blessing arrives. I will finally have peace when Allah gives me what I am asking for." But true peace does not begin when the blessing arrives. True peace begins when you trust Allah during the waiting. Because if you cannot trust Him while waiting, you will struggle to appreciate Him after receiving. Allah wants your relationship with Him to become stronger than your attachment to any blessing. He wants you to love the giver more than the gift, because gifts can come and go. But Allah never leaves. That is why some waiting seasons bring people closer to Allah than years of comfort ever could. The nights of uncertainty, the tears, the unanswered questions, the moments when all you can do is make dua and trust. Those moments often become the moments that transform a believer's heart. And perhaps right now, Allah is preparing more than you realize. Perhaps He is preparing you. Perhaps He is preparing another person. Perhaps He is preparing circumstances. Perhaps He is preparing opportunities. Perhaps He is arranging a future that is more beautiful than anything you have imagined. But because you cannot see it yet, you assume nothing is happening. Never underestimate what Allah can accomplish in a season of waiting. Some of the most beautiful stories begin in seasons that looked completely ordinary. Some of the greatest answers to prayer begin in moments that feel completely silent. And some of the greatest blessings are being prepared during the periods when people think Allah is doing nothing. The reality is that Allah is always working, always guiding, always arranging, always preparing, even when you cannot see it, even when you do not understand it, even when your heart feels tired from waiting so. So if you find yourself in a season of waiting today, do not see it as a punishment. Do not see it as abandonment. Do not see it as proof that your prayer has been ignored. See it as a classroom, a place where Allah is teaching you, strengthening you, purifying you, preparing you. Because one day, when the answer finally arrives, you may discover that the waiting season was not standing between you and the blessing. The waiting season was the very thing Allah used to make the blessing possible. And you may look back at every delayed prayer, every lonely night, every uncertain moment, and finally understand why Allah made you wait. Not because He wanted to hurt you, but because He was preparing something worth waiting for. Allah can make someone think of you before they even know who you are. One of the most amazing realities about life is that hearts are not controlled by people. They are controlled by Allah. People can influence each other. They can speak to each other. They can spend time together. But no human being has complete control over a heart. Only Allah does. He is the one who places love where there was once emptiness. He is the one who places peace where there was once fear. He is the one who creates connection between people who were once complete strangers. And He is the one who can place thoughts, hopes, and feelings inside a heart long before two people ever meet. Many people think that every feeling begins with a conversation. Every connection begins with an introduction. Every relationship begins with a meeting. But Allah's power is far greater than what we can see. Sometimes Allah begins preparing a person's heart for someone before they even know that person exists. Have you ever wondered why certain people suddenly begin making sincere dua for a spouse? Why they suddenly feel a strong desire to find someone who will help them become closer to Allah? Why they begin asking for qualities they never focused on before? It is as if Allah places a longing inside their heart, not for a specific person, but for the type of person He is preparing for them. And while they are making those duas, they have no idea that Allah may already be shaping the answer. Perhaps somewhere right now, someone is asking Allah for a person who is patient, a person who remains faithful during difficult times, a person who values honesty, a person who chooses Allah over worldly distractions, a person who will stay when life becomes hard. They do not know who that person is, yet they continue making that dua day after day, night after night, tear after tear, and Allah hears every word. What makes this so beautiful is that Allah does not need people to know each other in order to begin writing their story. He is the Lord of the unseen. He sees what has not happened yet as clearly as we see what is happening right now. While one person is praying for guidance, another person may be going through experiences that are preparing them to become that answer. While one person is asking Allah for someone sincere, Allah may be teaching another person sincerity through hardship. While one person is asking for loyalty, Allah may be teaching another person loyalty through tests and trials. While one person is asking for a peaceful heart, Allah may be helping another person heal from wounds they have carried for years. And neither person realizes that Allah is working on both sides of the story at the same time. This is why we should never underestimate the power of Allah over hearts. People often spend their lives trying to force what Allah never intended. They chase attention. They chase approval. They chase relationships. They chase people who are not meant for them. They believe that if they try harder, push harder, or hold on tighter, they can create what only Allah can create. But real connection is not forced. Real connection is guided. When Allah wants something for you, He can create a path to it in ways that leave people amazed. A conversation happens unexpectedly. A meeting takes place at the perfect moment. A door opens that nobody expected. A situation changes overnight, and suddenly, what seemed impossible becomes reality. This is why believers should never place their trust in their own plans more than they place their trust in Allah's plan. Because Allah can do in one moment what people cannot accomplish in years. He can change circumstances. He can open doors. He can remove obstacles. And He can soften hearts. Many people spend years worrying about whether someone will choose them, whether someone will love them, whether someone will appreciate them, whether someone will stay. But perhaps the better question is this: are you trusting Allah enough to guide the right heart towards you? Because if Allah has written something for you, no amount of distance can prevent it. No city, no country, no circumstance, no obstacle, nothing can stop what Allah has already decided. And if Allah has not written something for you, no amount of chasing can force it to happen. This truth brings incredible peace, because it removes the burden of trying to control everything. You do not have to control hearts. Allah controls hearts. You do not have to force people to see your value. Allah can place appreciation in the right heart. You do not have to make someone love you. Allah is capable of guiding hearts exactly where He wants them to go. The beautiful thing is that Allah often works quietly, without announcements, without signs people immediately recognize, without showing every detail of His plan. While you are worrying, Allah is working. While you are overthinking, Allah is arranging. While you are questioning, Allah is guiding. There may be moments when you feel invisible, moments when you feel forgotten, moments when you wonder whether anyone will ever truly understand you. But Allah sees everything. He sees your efforts. He sees your intentions. He sees your sincerity. He sees the version of you that nobody else sees. And if someone is making dua for a person with those qualities, Allah already knows where to find them. Perhaps that is why certain delays happen, because Allah is not only arranging circumstances, He is arranging hearts, and hearts take time. They need healing, they need growth, they need wisdom, they need faith, they need preparation. Before Allah brings two people together, He often prepares them separately. He teaches one lesson here, another lesson there, one hardship for one person, another hardship for the other, not because He wants them to suffer, but because He wants them to become who they need to be before their paths finally cross. Then one day, when the timing is right, Allah brings together two stories that were developing separately all along. And suddenly people call it coincidence. They call it luck. They call it fate. But believers know better. They know it was Allah, the one who was guiding every step, the one who was arranging every detail, the one who was preparing every lesson, the one who was moving hearts long before those hearts ever met. So if you are worried about the future today, remember this. The Allah who controls the heavens and the earth also controls hearts. The Allah who hears every dua also knows exactly where the answer is. And if someone is sincerely asking Allah for a person with the qualities He has been building inside you, then trust that He does not need introductions to begin His plan. He can place your future into someone's prayers long before they ever learn your name, and He can begin guiding two hearts toward each other long before either heart realizes what He is doing. The answer they are begging Allah for may be closer than either of you realize. One of the greatest mistakes people make during a season of waiting is believing that because they cannot see the answer must be far away. We often judge Allah's plans through our limited vision. If we cannot see movement, we assume nothing is happening. If we cannot see results, we assume our dua has been delayed. If we cannot see the answer, we assume it is still very far away. But Allah's reality is different from ours. What feels distant to us may already be close in the sight of Allah. What feels impossible to us may already be unfolding. What feels delayed to us may already be on its way. This is why believers must be careful not to let impatience weaken their trust in Allah. Because many times, people give up emotionally right before Allah opens the door they have been praying for. They stop hoping. They stop expecting good. They stop believing that something beautiful can happen. Not because Allah stopped working, but because waiting became longer than they expected. Think about how many stories in life changed in a single moment. One phone call, one conversation, one meeting, one opportunity, one unexpected event. A person can spend years feeling lost and then suddenly find direction. A person can spend years feeling alone and then suddenly meet someone who changes everything. A person can spend years wondering why Allah made them wait and then finally understand the wisdom behind every delay. Allah does not need years to change your situation. He can change everything in a single day. The same Allah who parts seas, heals hearts, and answers prayers is fully capable of changing your life in ways you cannot imagine. That is why hopelessness has no place in the heart of a believer. Because believers trust in Allah's power more than they trust in what they currently see. The beautiful reality is that while you are waiting, Allah may already be arranging the answer. The person making dua may think nothing is happening. You may think nothing is happening. Yet Allah may already be moving both of your lives toward a future neither of you can see. Perhaps the answer is not years away. Perhaps it is one lesson away, one moment away, one change away, one decision away, one door away. Only Allah knows. Sometimes we imagine that the answer to our dua will arrive through a dramatic event, something obvious, something extraordinary, something impossible to miss. But often Allah's answers arrive quietly. A conversation starts, a path crosses, an opportunity appears, a heart changes, a door opens, and suddenly the thing that seemed impossible becomes reality. Not because it happened by chance, but because Allah was arranging it all along. This is why trust is so important, because trust allows you to remain hopeful even when you cannot see the outcome. Trust allows you to keep making dua even when there are no visible signs. Trust allows you to keep believing that Allah's plan is beautiful, even when you do not understand it. Many people spend so much time focusing on what they have lost that they fail to see what Allah is preparing. They keep looking behind them, thinking about closed doors, thinking about people who left, thinking about opportunities that never happened, thinking about prayers that seem unanswered. Meanwhile, Allah is inviting them to look forward. because their future is not behind them, it is ahead of them. Allah did not create your future to be found in what has already left your life. He created your future in what is still coming. This is why holding on to hope is an act of worship. Because hope is a declaration that you trust Allah's mercy. Hope is a declaration that you trust Allah's wisdom. Hope is a declaration that you believe Allah can create goodness even when you cannot see it. And perhaps right now, somewhere in the world, someone is still making dua, still asking Allah, still hoping, still waiting, still begging Allah for an answer. They may not know your name, they may not know your face, they may not know your story, but Allah knows. Allah knows exactly who they are asking for. Allah knows exactly where you are. Allah knows exactly what needs to happen before the answer arrives. And Allah knows the perfect moment to bring everything together. Not too early, not too late, perfectly, because Allah never makes mistakes with timing. Every delay has wisdom. Every waiting season has purpose. Every unanswered question has meaning, even when we do not understand it. One day, you may look back on this season of your life and realize that Allah was answering your prayer in ways you never recognized. The hardships were preparing you. The delays were protecting you. The loneliness was teaching you. The waiting was strengthening you. And the unanswered questions were drawing you closer to Him. Then suddenly, the pieces will make sense. You will understand why certain people had to leave, why certain doors had to close, why certain plans had to fail, why certain prayers took longer than expected. Because Allah was writing a story that required patience, a story that required trust, a story that required growth, a story that could only unfold according to His timing. The most beautiful part is that Allah never forgets a sincere dua, never. Not the dua whispered through tears, not the dua made during tahajjud, not the dua repeated hundreds of times, not the dua hidden inside a tired heart. Allah hears every word, Allah sees every tear, Allah knows every hope. And when the time is right, He answers in the way that is best. So if your heart feels tired today, remember this. Just because you cannot see the answer does not mean the answer is not coming. Just because you cannot see the path does not mean Allah has not already created one. Just because you cannot see the story does not mean Allah is not writing it. Somewhere, someone may still be begging Allah for an answer about you. And while they are praying, and while you are waiting, Allah may already be bringing both of you closer to the moment He has written, closer to the meeting, closer to the answer, closer to the blessing, closer to the chapter that will make all the waiting finally make sense. So do not lose hope, do not lose trust, do not lose faith in the one who controls every heart and every destiny, because the answer they are begging Allah for may be much closer than either of you realize. Perhaps tonight, someone is raising their hands to Allah and asking for a person they have never met, a person they cannot see, a person they cannot find, a person they can only describe through the qualities they hope for. And perhaps, without even realizing it, they are asking Allah about you. The beautiful thing about Allah's plan is that He never reveals everything at once. He asks us to trust before we understand, to believe before we see, to remain patient before the answer arrives. That is why faith is so powerful, because faith allows the heart to stay hopeful even when the future is hidden. If there is one thing I want you to remember from this reminder, it is this. Never think your waiting is meaningless. Never think your tears are unnoticed. Never think your dua has been forgotten. Allah sees every moment of patience. He hears every prayer. He knows every fear hidden inside your heart, and He is working in ways you cannot yet see. The delays have a purpose. The waiting has a purpose. The unanswered questions have a purpose. Even when everything feels uncertain, Allah's plan remains perfect. So continue making dua. Continue improving yourself. Continue becoming the person you hope to meet one day. And most importantly, continue trusting Allah, because the same Allah who placed the dream inside your heart is fully capable of bringing it into your life at the perfect time. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but exactly when it is meant to happen. And when that day comes, you may finally understand that every delay, every lesson, every test, and every tear was guiding you towards something beautiful all along. May Allah purify our hearts, strengthen our faith, forgive our sins, and bless us with spouses who bring us closer to Him. May He protect us from what is not written for us, and guide us toward what is best for our dunya and akhirah. Ameen. If this reminder touched your heart, write "I trust Allah's timing" in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this reminder, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another Islamic reminder. Until next time, take care of your heart, stay close to Allah, and never stop making dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.